They were a freaking train wreck, weren't they, Beck? They were broke. And this is what it looks like to be willing to get better and put in the footwork, because they put in the footwork. They were in RECOR for a long time. Most people don't make it that long in RECOR. But they kept pushing and pushing. They listened to the rules and did what they had to do to get sober. They're separate still in different rehabs, still pushing. Her husband's working. She's doing it. You know? I'm going to cry, so I'll just give you her, let her tell her story. You got to stand right here so he can get you on the camera.
Goodness gracious, there's a lot of people in here. So last night, I agreed to speak, and I thought I was just going to get up and say like a 5-minute thing, and then Aaron was like, no, you got to talk for like 20 or 30 minutes, so bear with me. I didn't really plan for any of this. Well, like he said, I have about 4 months right now. My sober date is April 21st of 2016. I spent 3 months in RECOR, and I'm currently at the Quest Deliverance House right now. And it's awesome there. It's saving my life. It's like nothing I've ever experienced. I guess I'm kind of supposed to tell you, what happened. So, I grew up in a home with an alcoholic father. My first memory as a child was a couple days before Christmas. I was about 5 years old, and my father was in a drunken rampage because he couldn't find his remote. Things were broken, the Christmas tree was destroyed, and I remember hiding in my closet, and my sister would come and say, it's okay, you can come out, or you need to go hide, Dad's freaking out. And my dad would come up and say, no, Ashley, come out, it's okay. And I must have gone back and forth 10, 15 times. And that kind of set the stage for my childhood. I just lived in constant fear. I was always afraid. I was always afraid for my mom. She was my world. And I always felt like I had to protect her from him. So I always thought it was my job to do that. So I felt a lot of pressure from, really young. We spent a lot of time in hotels, hiding from my dad, or in restaurants because we couldn't go home because, how this disease is. He was an alcoholic and an angry one, a lot of demons. So when I was about, I'd say about 11, I had some older foster sisters, and they really liked to party and get high, and they thought it was cool to get their little sister high. So first time I got high, I was 11, and I remember thinking this was the greatest thing in the world. I could finally get out of myself. I thought I had found my identity in drugs and alcohol. I took the first drink, and it was disgusting, but I drank it all, and I remember not being able to get more then, and I obsessed over that drink for weeks and weeks and weeks. I just thought about it constantly, and I thought always, when would I be able to get the next one? So I believe that I was born with the disease of addiction. My teenage years were kind of a blur. I tried everything I could get my hands on. That's all I did. School wasn't a priority. My goals weren't a priority. My family wasn't a priority. I was always just chasing the next high. In 9th grade, I got arrested for being drunk in gym class. So that's the kind of teenager I was. I think I could probably count the number of days that I actually attended school. I was never there. I just didn't care. So the most important thing, I think, to me was my friends and getting high. And I wasn't afraid to try anything. Anything that was put in front of me, I would do. And I did it until I couldn't remember anymore. I would just use until, you know, the voices in my head were silenced. All the pain and fear that I carried around and all the worry. So, you know, I was with my friends all the time. They were my world. I thought this is the most important thing in life, is getting high and hanging out with my friends. So at about 17 years old, I was raped by my drug dealer. And he was like the cool guy. So when word got out to everyone, all my friends about that, they didn't want to believe it because they didn't want to stop doing what they were doing, getting everything from him. And he was cool. He had tattoos and guns, and he was 19 and we were 17, and he had his own place. And so all my friends kind of turned their backs on me. I took a lot of verbal abuse. You know, I couldn't even go to school without getting called a slut or a whore or a liar. And that was the most important thing to me, was those friends. So when they all didn't want to be friends with me anymore, my world was crushed. So he also began to stalk me a lot, follow me around. He cut me off one time when I was driving and put a gun in my face and told me, you know, if I told the police, that's, you know, what would happen. So I was terrified again. It was just this constant theme of just fear and fear. So after that happened, I felt very, very alone. And you know, what I used before, it was to escape, to forget, but now it was more, I knew what I was picking up a drug or a drink for, and that was to go into complete oblivion. I didn't want to feel any feelings at all. I preferred to be numb over anything else. So I ended up dropping out of high school because I just couldn't face those people. I couldn't stay coherent enough to go to school. So I ended up moving out of my parents' house, and I finally thought, wow, I'm free. Like, I don't have to be around my dad anymore. I can leave all these people behind, and I don't have to worry about them. I moved in with some roommates, and it was the party house. It was, you know, the drug house. And I put myself in a lot of really dangerous situations there. I remember being robbed one night, and they came in and had me execution style on the floor. And they were basically using my life to scare my friends into giving them their stuff. So I thought I was going to die, and I was okay with it. I just kind of let go, and I figured that this is what's supposed to happen. It's got to be easier than my life. They left, and I was okay, but it didn't stop me. I didn't care. It wasn't enough to scare me. Things started getting more out of control. I met a guy, and all we did was use together. I became addicted to meth. I was about 18 years old. I started stripping to support my habit, selling drugs, stealing, anything I could do. And then I ended up pregnant. Well, I thought this baby was gonna save my life. So I did okay for a while. I quit doing everything. Her dad wouldn't stop. He ended up robbing somebody, and the person was shot. So he went to prison. So here I am, 19 years old.